Students were known for being very good at being able to teach and understand Pythagoras' theorems. They were well known as good students and good teachers once they went and spent time listening to him and hearing what he had to teach and following his method. What was his secret? What made his students become so popular and so well known throughout that area of the world for their abilities to understand and to apply this learning? And the answer is self-examination. Self-examination. At the end of each day, rather than simply teaching them the lesson and having them go home and do their homework, they had to every day examine themselves with these questions. How did I succeed in my studies today? They had to ask themselves, how did I succeed in my studies today? Could I have learned more? So they had to think about their day. Could I have learned more? Could I have studied better? So could I have learned more? Could I have studied better? Is there something I neglected? Is there something I neglected? So they had to examine themselves. They had to ponder their day and look at what they had done and how well they had learned. And because of this, they became very good students, and they were known throughout their area of the world as being experts who understood and could apply Pythagoras' teachings and be able to understand the math, the geometry that I didn't pass very well in high school. But they learned it through self-examination. They didn't stop just at the learning in class and hearing his instruction, but had to go and ask themselves those questions each and every day. And in our scripture today, Israel is being called to the mat. They're being asked to be accountable, to be responsible for their actions, for turning away and following other gods. The sins that resulted from their turning away from following God are listed here in the first verses of chapter 57. They're not a pleasant description. There is no sin that is pleasant in the sight of God. God is not unaware. He's not oblivious to our sin. And through Isaiah, God gave them a list of the sins that they were committing. So God wasn't ignorant of what they were doing, even though in some of them they were trying to keep secret. They were doing behind closed doors. But some of the sins that we see listed there are sorcery, adultery, prostitution, rebellion, and lying, worshiping idols, and sacrificing children. They had gone so far in following after the desires of their hearts and the lusts and seeking after other gods as the other nations did, that they came to the point of finding it acceptable to sacrifice their own children. So not only did God know of their many sins, but he also gave the reason for Israel's turning away from him.